Today's news. Rights defenders report on Council of Europe meetings. Female activists call on the government to dismiss the parliament. Turkish Airlines embroiled in post office lawsuit. Families of military officers go on hunger strike. Violation of offshore labour rights. South Azerbaijan National Awakening Movement holds Congress. The Human Rights Organization's monitoring group held a press conference to discuss their participation in the winter session of the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, PACE. Novella Jafaroglu, Saida Gojamanli and Saidet Benanyali spoke about their meeting with the Council of Europe Secretary General. Discussion had focused on the human rights situation in Azerbaijan, particularly the imprisonment of journalist Zeynullah Fatullayev, young activist Ruslan Bashirli, and another 5 ill prisoners. Gojamanli commented on the reluctance of the co-rapporteurs to meet with the Azeri group. She also criticised them for holding what the NGO perceived as anti-Azerbaijan prejudices. The group members condemned the PACE report on recent parliamentary elections in Azerbaijan, describing it as non-neutral. The right defenders also brought up the failure of the special rapporteur on political prisoners in Azerbaijan to visit the country. They mentioned that, in his official capacity, he would not be received by the Baku officials. The government has issued a statement to explain this position. Although there are political prisoners in Armenia, Georgia and Russia, the Council of Europe has only appointed a rapporteur on political prisoners for Azerbaijan. This demonstrates a lack of neutrality on behalf of the Council of Europe, and so Baku does not recognise the appointment. Female representatives of the opposition party and NGO leaders met at the Musavat party headquarters to discuss a female approach to the socio-political situation in Azerbaijan. The roundtable discussed violence against women, the undemocratic election process, the increasing lack of police accountability, lawlessness, the military, and the situation for prisoners with life sentences. They blamed these problems on the government's stranglehold on civic initiatives in the country. On the other hand, the laws in the country are not properly implemented, which makes the violation of citizens' rights much easier. As a result of the discussion, the women produced a statement. The statement focuses on their concern over the undemocratic elections, corruption and bribery, the absence of a proper welfare system, and the increasing lack of police accountability. In addition, they called upon the ruling regime to throw out the undemocratic parliament, hold democratic elections, and to launch massive political and social reform. This morning, the Yasamal District Court heard the next stage of human rights defender Rasul Jafarov's lawsuit against Azapost Express Communications Office. Jafarov, the 2010 Fellow of the International Bridge of Justice Group, was unable to travel to Singapore for an International Bridge of Justice conference because the Postal Service lost his visa documents. Because Singapore does not have an embassy in Azerbaijan, Jafarov was required to submit his documents to the Singaporean embassy in Geneva, but his documents were lost in the post by Azapost Express. Jafarov's lawyer, Yasar Agazadeh, Bahram Safarov from Azapost Express, and Turkish Airlines representative Mukhtar Mustafayev were present. Turkish Airlines became involved in the lawsuit after a motion put forward by Jafarov, based on Azapost's claim that the documents had been lost by Turkish Airlines, was passed by the judge. Turkish Airlines rejected this claim. Jafarov's legal representative requested time to familiarise himself with the statement of protest and document file. The judge scheduled the next hearing for the 8th of February. The families of 2 military officers have launched a hunger strike to protest the violation of their property rights, announced a press conference held at the Officers and Reserve Public Union. Union lawyer Telman Abilov reported that the families of retired officers Bakhtiar Vakilov and Adolat Gambarov had begun a hunger strike at a military camp in Hajjagabal military settlement on January 31st. They are protesting against the attempts to evict them from the settlement. The Hajjagabal police, the military settlement management, and the regional executive administration are putting pressures on them to leave, and have been for the past 18 months. According to Abilov, the rise in land prices across the country has prompted authorities to seize the 10-hectare military settlement. There used to be 50 families living at the settlement. Some apartments have been destroyed, but the two families in question have so far refused to leave because they have nowhere else to go. Both families have pledged to continue their hunger strike until the situation is favourably resolved. They have also told the Azerbaijani government to annul their citizenship if it fails to protect their rights. Today, the Sabail District Court heard the lawsuit filed by a group of offshore catering employees against Aramark Limited, a services company subcontracted by the state oil company to cater for 2 oil rigs. Aramark failed to attend the hearing. Only representatives of the Labour Inspection Office and the Confederation of Trade Unions were there, and so the hearing was postponed until February 17th. The prosecuting side's lawyer, Logman Abdullayev, told Objective TV that Aramark's employees are requesting the payment of wage supplements in accordance with current labour laws. According to the Azerbaijani Labour Code, wage supplements are paid to compensate workers doing jobs in difficult and hazardous conditions and where the climate can be challenging. All other companies working on the offshore rigs are paying these supplements, but Aramark is refusing. During the next hearing, we will file a motion for a hold to be put on the company's bank account, said Abdullayev. The return of Mahmoudali Cheraganli has prompted a resurgence of activity amongst the national awakening movement of southern Iranian Azerbaijan. A congress of 35 representatives of different countries took place yesterday through an internet conference, announced Agreed Garadagli, head of the Baku branch of the movement, at a press conference at IRFS today. He reported that the Congress had discussed the latest developments in and around Iran, the revolutions in Africa and the Middle East, and the expansion of the movement's activity. The movement has decided to establish new offices in Romania and Australia. They have also decided to launch an international campaign to raise awareness of the persecution of Azerbaijani activists in Iran. The South Azerbaijan National Awakening Movement was secretly established in 1995 by Cheraganli to fight for the protection of national rights in South Azerbaijan. The central headquarters of the movement is located in South Azerbaijan and operates secretly and illegally. In 2002, Sanam began to open offices abroad. At present, it has 24 offices operating across Azerbaijan, Turkey, the US and European countries. Sanam is recognized by different UN committees, the European Union, the European Parliament, as well as some democratic states.